house. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House Pro Insider Podcast. This is where we talk about stuff that, isn't making it into the regular radio show, because this is for all of you professionals out there. Whether you're a contractor, kitchen designer, electrician, plumber, basement foundation worker, roofer, this is for you in the entire residential remodel and construction industry. And today is one that I want to talk about that is kind of a hot subject to me, because I've been helping out this client, and she is somebody that has had some low quality work done. And I came to realize that there is still this trend out there in our industry that people wave this flag, and I'll be honest, it's not a good thing. I'm not using names here because this isn't about calling out a company or a particular person or anything like that, but this is about doing it the old way. And the old way being, quite frankly, wrong, because there are so many better ways of doing it. Great example, there is an East Coast construction company that is doing basement waterproofing. And on their website, they even brag that they've been doing it this way since the 50s and 60s. And it's their way of doing it. And they make it sound like, this is the Roman way of doing it, and you should be doing it this way. But the problem is that it's a horrible way of doing it. And you might have gotten away with it in 1950 or 60, but you sure can't get away with it now. And it's like some of the discussions that I've had with people over the years. I've been a kitchen and bath designer for about 30 years now. There's still stuff I learn every day that I go, yeah, I could have done that differently. That's an interesting way of doing it. There are companies out there that are so stuck in the family way of doing it, they haven't figured out that the family way of doing it is wrong. And quite frankly, a little more dangerous to the structure, a little more dangerous to the homeowner, and against the law in some cases like this one. And just because it's in an unfinished basement that looked good before you started doesn't mean that you go in there. And I'll use some specifics here because I don't want to be beating around the bush with this. So this is a foundation repair company. And if you're listening to the midweek special, you heard Caroline and I talk about this with one of her clients. And I've jumped in to try to help navigate this mess, because the homeowner is getting multiple bad information from multiple people with the company. So this is a basement waterproofing job. And instead of going around and cutting the slab around the perimeter of the basement and doing this correctly, they just got down there with a jackhammer and started busting it up. Well, their daughter, the homeowner's daughter, has a very, very serious medical condition. And nobody took into account Title I with silica dust. They got silica dust everywhere, and the testing is showing it. All they said was don't turn the heat on and then shut the door, and that was it. And you can't just do that. But they busted up the entire floor down there. There are big chunks because, you can't make a clean cut with a jackhammer and old thin concrete on a basement floor. You need to get out the saw and let it be a wet saw to do it. But these guys, their answer, we don't use a wet saw. We've never done a wet saw. Well, the problem is, and then they tried this complete line of crap, and I'll say, with the homeowner. Well, that busted up concrete sticks better to the new concrete. Well, not when you go around outside corners and it's all busted up and it's loose where I could go down and reach it and pick it up. I don't care if it's sticking to that. Who cares? But the problem is that when you get stuck in your ways and you don't take your company and innovate to what you're doing, at least in that decade or that century, you are going to get beat. And these guys are putting out, quite frankly, seeing the pictures, horrible product. And then when the customer is unhappy, they lean back on we've been doing it forever this way. Well, you've been doing it forever for wrong. And that's where I have problems with companies that are multi-generational sometimes, especially in our construction world. There are some companies that I've worked in the past that as technology goes on, they are the first ones to jump in and go, we got to follow the rules. We got to go out and get tools that control silica dust. Why are we doing it this way? Hey, let's get a guy in there to do a saw cut so it just makes it a cleaner job so it looks good. Think about what your company is doing, what your team is doing, and even what your competitors are doing. Because I tell you what, I sure wouldn't want these pictures of this quote-unquote completed job up there. Looks horrible. Low quality. And they didn't do the job right. So think about what happens in your world. Are you staying on top of the latest ways of doing it? Are you behind the times? Because I know this big company, the only reason, from what I heard from the homeowner, that they hired this company was because they had worked on their parents' house decades ago. The problem is they use the same techniques on the parents' house, and the world has changed a whole lot, and there's a much, much better way of doing it. So I'm going to tie this in here. If you're out traveling around here in the next few weeks, head down to Design and Construction Week, where there's going to be a lot of ways as a contractor, as a designer, as a tradesperson to learn what's going on in the world and what's a better way of doing stuff. I'm going to be over in early February. I've got my own stage over in the Home Technology Zone, and then visit all of my friends that are going to be over there in the High Performance Building Zone. And you're going to learn from industry professionals some new ways of doing things. That way you can be on top of your game. And if you're down in Orlando, you're going to be down there checking it out. This is one of those things that I would do to make sure you're giving your client the best experience and you get a great referral out of it. This goes to kitchen and bath designers. This goes to everybody out there in the trades. There's always a new and better way of doing it. There's lots of new ways of doing stuff, and I hope you embrace those and bring those to your business and your client. All right, everybody, have a great Thursday. Thanks for listening. I'm going to be doing some great interviews down in Orlando as well that we'll be bringing here to the Pro Insider with a bunch of my friends, the professionals. We will see you on Saturday on the radio. Thanks for listening to the Around the House Pro Insider.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be